We are live. We are live. Welcome everybody here to the Space Water Podcast. That's right. My name is Castaldo, and you have just tuned in to one of the most dynamic, exciting podcasts that you can find on science, religion, spirituality, and thought. That's right here, exclusively on YouTube. You can also find me at patreon.com/the mystical spiral. If you want my Patreon to get my groundbreaking, world renowned research and information, also access to my products for your mind, body, and soul, my healing devices and gemstones and crystal, all sorts of carvings that you can custom made, all sorts of products for your mind, body, and soul, royal cubit, copper sensor wrapped around the ethically sourced, highest quality gemstones and crystals that you can find on the planet. Some of them imprinted with the catalog of 432 hertz and frequencies. Some of them charged at a sacred site at during solar alignment and archaeoastronomy moments. All of this you can at the mysticalspiralstore.com. I also have a free information website at themysticalspiral.com, which you guys can check out as well. I just started re-editing the themysticalspiral.com, the free info website. So you got that out at your convenience. .com. Yeah, I got it. All right. We got chat room up. I got the chat room up. You guys can check it out. Uh the website. Here's my it's a free information website. Guys, I don't have any sponsors. I don't have any affiliates. I don't have anybody giving me money to do anything, right? This is all from my own pocket, all self-supported through me and my family. I'm like one family, I'm daughter and my wife. They help me do everything. So this is out of my own pocket for the website to do everything, the, the research that I'm doing. I'm doing healing sessions. I do all sorts of research for our minds, our bodies, and our souls. Basically, most of the research I am doing is bridging the gap that we lost between spirituality and science and helping rediscover the knowledge of the transmigration of souls and who we are and where we're going and why we are in this creation planet, this tree of life. And it could this you see me here with on the first page. This is the red granite megalithic dolmen that we have here in New York State that I've ever since the 1980s. But I've been working more heavily at it since 2012. And you guys can find let me get the link for you guys for my PayPal because we're demonetized here. You guys want to support my channel and can support my work. You guys, for right now, have to donate to the PayPal because we don't have we got demonetized. Hopefully in March I'll get the demonetizing back. I'll get monetization, but I might even keep it demonetized so I don't have to worry about like stressing out over if they're gonna demonetize me over this or that. So it did kind of wind out of my cell a little bit, getting demonetized, because I've been working really hard on my podcast. There's a lot of information that I provide, and it's a shame. It's a shame when people do this because I don't think I was demonetized. I think by the algorithm. I think it was anything that I really did wrong. So I hope you guys are here with me. Who's watching me? Anybody with me in the chat room right now? Is this live? Where is the? How come it's telling me there's only like maybe no one's. Oh, thanks. Yeah, Sean is there. Okay, there is people watching. It says they're like on my. I have my other screen. It says, well, here it says three watching, and then my other says it says two watching. But then there's, hey, what's up, Sean? Sean, you can't wait till you get your packages coming any day now. Should be there this weekend by Friday or Saturday. You're gonna love that shit, brother. Next level. Next level. So what we for well oh Linda. Oh, so there are people watching. I don't know why YouTube does that because it's literally telling me there's nobody here watching. And then when I look on the other screen it says I have 5 likes and then on my screen I have no likes, just the like that I put. That's crazy. Look, I'll share screen with you guys and show you. Look, it tells me there's 2 people watching and 0 likes. Look, that was just the 1 like that I gave. It says there's 2 people watching. Yeah, brother. Sean, you got coming next level skull, custom made skull that my buddy Sean that's in the chat room right here. Since he brought it up, I wasn't gonna really talk about it specifically that it was his, but since he brought it up, yeah, he got a custom made over 5 pound high altitude Himalayan quartz crystals, and I engraved the third eye for him on there. It's the first time I've ever done that on a skull. And I don't think I can do it on a small skull yet, but I can do it on a big skull. And I'll show you what Himalayan quartz looks like. So this is one of mine of Himalayan quartz that's fairly big. This is my, but the one that he got is much bigger. This is an elongated Himalayan quartz, and you guys can see the Himalayan quartz is also Himalayan rainbow quartz because it has a lot of rainbow throughout. I don't know if you could see on the video here. One has a lot of rainbow inside skull, and his does as well, but his has a beautiful third eye. Actually, I could show you guys on the video. Got the bad boy back. I can show you guys on my video here. Let me see if I could pull it up first. I also included a gift package with your order because anybody that spends over $500 is getting until we run out of supplies is getting um, Moldavite, watermelon tourmaline specimen, Herkimer diamond, and shungite package. So that's an incredible deal. You guys can get that at the mysticalspiralstore.com. Let me go to the Mystical Spiral. This was uh this is the website that this is my other YouTube channel, everybody. So if you guys haven't checked out my other YouTube channel where I do my copper and crystals at, you guys can check it out at the Mystical Spiral or TMS Copper and Gemstones. And this is the the skull. Look at this bad boy. Huge, high altitude Himalayan rainbow quartz. Look at the rainbow all in there. Incredible. It even has a couple of spots of golden healer and fire quartz inclusions. And you can even see, look at the beautiful third eye on there. Wow. Insane. One of the most badass skulls in the world. And I'm not just saying that because it was custom made by the Mystical Spiral store. I'm saying that because it truly is. I've been working with crystal skulls for decades, and this one has some of the most powerful energy of any crystal skull that you could find out there. Really intense, really strong energy with this, and you could see the massive, massive size to it. And the third eye is just came out better, better. Actually, I was worried at first, but I I followed my instinct and it came out the way I wanted and even better than I wanted. So, even better than I expected is what I meant. It came out cool. Good luck with it. You're gonna love it. It'll be centerpiece to your home, dude. What? And you got a lot of other skulls too, so this is gonna be dope. Dope addition to your family here. No doubt. Good luck with it. You're gonna love it. It'll be. You got one, you call him Hank. What's up, Spectrums of Light? Hank. Yeah, bro, this is really next level skull right here. Really next level. You guys custom skulls made, you guys can get off the website as well. Let me show you guys real quick. Get rid of all this. Did you guys see the skull that I pulled? Was I sharing screen when I showed it? I hope so. I think I was, right? This is the one. If you guys saw it when I was sharing with the third eye. Yeah, incredible right there. But if you guys go to the Mystical Spiral store, if you could get custom orders as well, you could just contact me through the store if you want a custom order. I do custom pendants, custom carvings, all sorts of custom orders, all sorts of custom orders. Or if you want to, if you guys have your own crystal shops, or you want to have crystals that you also want to get at wholesale price, you can do this as well. I do wholesale packages and I do regular retail as well. And when it comes to Herkimer diamonds, I was able to source them right here in New York because they come from the upstate New York mine. So we have a nice selection of different sizes and different qualities of Herkimer diamonds as well. So I could show you guys an example of some Herkimers. We got Herkimers of all sizes. You guys can see some of them right here that I have that I'm out of. This is a Herkimer diamond. They're double terminated. Some of them have water inclusions, water bubble inclusions, little petroleum inclusions, and this one's not with a nice heavy gauge as well. I like the heavier gauge. Um, the one I'm wearing now is a nice heavy gauge. This is with a 12 gauge copper, really heavy gauge. I like those. But this is you know, some of them are really just amazing. I mean, Herkimer diamonds have some of the best energy, and you guys can see the beautiful rainbow and just the power of the Herkimer diamond quartz. Some of the most incredible quartz on the planet is Herkimer diamond quartz. And I got all sizes of Herkimer diamond quartz as well, and qualities. So there are some really nice big ones as well. If you guys want, I could custom make pendants, and these usually have rainbow on these as well. I don't know if you guys would be able to see. This one's got petroleum deposits in there. Beautiful Herkimer diamonds. There's one or two of them that I got, and these are all self hand sourced from the mines. Only one that we got that was a smoky quartz Herkimer. This one is a natural smoky one. Really nice size as well. Look at that bad boy. Really cool. Yeah, this one is like a little bit smoky as well. Yeah, this one's like a little bit smoky to it. It's like a light smoky. Beautiful double terminated. Look at that. So dope. Look at that. What? You guys can see the beautiful barcode Lemurian growth mark on there. This gun's got rainbow all throughout it. Beautiful inclusions in there. It's too blurry, I think. But this is just beautiful. Insane. See if we'll get a couple of more people watching before we get deep into the podcast. Oh yeah, look at this. This is a really nice Herkimer as well. Check this Herkimer. I like the shape of this one. Look at that bad boy. What? That is like a huge diamond. Really powerful quartz. And you can see the little petroleum deposits in there. And we're actually giving out free Herkimer diamonds with orders right now. I'm giving out some of the smaller ones for free. We got all sizes. I could show you guys. Look, beautiful Herkimers here. I have them all different separated because there's a big difference in the quality of the price, right? So you can have bigger ones that are less expensive because of the quality, right? Some of them, the clarity is just insane, and then some of them, the clarity, I have a few of them where the clarity is not that great, so it's not as expensive. But some of them are collector's grade clarity. Like, look at this massive one. Check out this bad boy. What? Look at this Herkimer. Wow. Beautiful bad boy right here. So you guys can get this wrapped in a pendant. And this is an asset. These go up in value for sure. This one's actually got some water uh and hydro bubbles inside of it moving around. I don't like to circle them with markers like some people do. Some that I've purchased in the past have had that on it, but luckily we these are hand sourced. Beautiful rainbow on this one too. Wow, look at the rainbow. What kind of skull do you call Hank? Spectrums of light. What kind of skull is it? Yeah, see, these little ones are so cool too. I love Herkimers, and some of these ones got other little penetrators growing from it, like a cluster. Some growing out from it. I have a few like that. More than a few. I have a few dozen that are like that. And you can see this one is a lesser expensive Herkimer. See, because the clarity is not, it's cloudy. So one like this is fairly inexpensive, right? I could sell these for a few dollars. One like this. But you can have the one this side size with the clarity and it's worth well over $100, right? Because of the clarity and the everything, the double termination, the inclusions, there's a lot of factors that go into making the value of it. But this one is a fairly inexpensive one because it's really really beautiful quality, but it's not as it doesn't have the clarity to it as one like this. You see, these ones you can see the clarity on these are insane, and this one is milky. Damn, I got pen on me, pencil. Yeah, all right, let me put these away because I had taken a lot out here. But yeah, I got a whole bunch of Herkimers. These are so cool. Oh yeah, see this one's got actual nice petroleum deposits in there as well. You could see pretty big ones too. Yeah, I have a few that are somewhat smoky. This one's a somewhat smoky quartz one as well. It's like a light smoky. It's got smoky, double terminated smoky at the bottom as well. Really cool. That's gonna look really nice as a pendant. And this one's a really nice big Herkimer in the pendant that I'm wearing. And I don't know if I told you guys the experience that I had. I think I might have told Johnny, or I might have mentioned it on a podcast last week. But I had an experience right outside here on I think it was the 21st. No, it was last week. I don't know the date. I forget which date it was. And during the experience, the Herkimer diamond pendant on my neck was vibrating and hopping off my chest. It was vibrating with the energy that was going on. It was really incredible. Some of these aren't double terminated. Some of them are. Like this one, these are all hand sourced too. This one is just got the single termination, but it's got a lot of rainbow. All right, let me put these away. All right, I think we got like 9 or 10 people in the chat room. We'll get started. Well, yeah, you guys can contact me right at the Mystical Spiral store. If you're interested in like a package of Herkimer diamonds, if you want to resell them, we could do wholesale packages. So this is not meant for me to sit with all this stuff. This is all for you guys out there as well. We got a huge selection here. So little by little, I'm putting them up on the website and I'm making pendants out of them. But if you guys are interested in wholesale packages, just let me know. And I'm pretty sure if you guys have ordered from my website, I probably sent you guys one for free already. Let's get down to business. Welcome, everybody. This is the Space Water Podcast. Of course, my name is Rock Castaldo. You could find me at the Mystical Spiral Store.com. And also, you can find me at patreon.com/the mystical spiral and themysticalspiral.com, the free website right here, guys. You could see the various information that we have up there. I've been updating it. those who've been following my work, you know about the certain visions that I get, certain impressions that I get, certain things that I was born with, and how it guides me to do my research and guides me to write the articles and the books that I write and to provide the information for my podcasts and to do the work that I'm doing. And we are under a bombardment from the cosmos right now, everybody. Our world is about to change as we know it, and we're coming to a grand solar event that's going to change humanity and change Earth forever. And these solar events have been changing Earth periodically since its beginning, right? And I talked about how the Vedas, the Bible, all these different religious and spiritual um, writings, they have codes, they have mantras, they have verses that were originally made to align us to the powers of the cosmos, the cosmic consciousness, and ultimately so we can be in harmony with the cosmic consciousness and the harmony of the spheres, right? But there's a war amongst the cosmos that we are stuck right in the middle in. And unfortunately, our world has been corrupted. And it's talked about in all the religious stories. Not only do we have it here in the Bible, but that Bible story is repeated right in Hindu and Vedic writings. And I'm going to bring this up with Gary Wayne. For those that don't know, Gary Wayne will be on for the next 2 weekends. He was here last Saturday. He's also going to be on this Saturday and next Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Me and Gary do at least 2 shows a month, and there's not many other people that he does that many shows with. I think the most he does with other people is maybe one a month, but I got him every 2 weeks because we've been working together for like 10 years, and I'm definitely one of the only hosts that actually participates and offers information as well as him. I'd let him do 90 to 95% of the talking because he's the guest, but not many other hosts are able to offer information where Gary actually, learned some things from me just like I learned from him, right? Because we both have dedicated our lives to uncovering some of the mysteries that we've lost about our roots, about our religions on the planet, and where we fit in all of it. And ultimately, how can you choose? How can you have be part of a religion or choose your faith, right? People have faith that there's God and that there's something more than us and more and divine, but how can you know which path to choose if you don't know the scriptures that have to go with it, right? All these people are, in our world, a lot of people are brought up in religions, yet they don't know what that religion really is about. They're just sort of brought into it. Rarely do people actually get to know the ins and outs. And the Hebrew scriptures has the fall of man, right? We talk about Adam in the garden, but that's repeated also in Hindu, right? There's a story as Shiva being the supreme being, and he's desired to tempt Brahma. Brahma in this story, he's taken a human form, actually, and he's called Swayambura. Swayambura is spelled Swaybhura, Swayambura, right? Which means the son of the self-existent. And basically, Shiva is this, he's trying to tempt Brahma, who has taken this human form as Swayambura, and by doing this, he drops an object from heaven. And this object is a blossom of the sacred fig tree. right? And Swayambura is instigated by his wife, Satarupa, and he is trying to get this blossom, thinking that if he gets it and possesses it, it's going to make him immortal, it's going to make him divine. But when he actually gets it, he's cursed, right? He's cursed by Shiva and he's doomed to degradation and misery. And the sacred fig tree is endowed by the Brahmins of Hindu, it's endowed by the Buddhists, and it has all sorts of mysterious significance as like the tree of knowledge and the tree of intelligences, right? And this is Earth. Earth is the tree of knowledge. Earth is the tree of intelligences. And although there's a sort of this Garden of Eden paradise in Hebrew in the Bible, the Hindu religion has Mount Meru and Mount Kailash, which the sun always shines upon, and it goes out to the four rivers, right? So this also it's not the four rivers in India, it's the four rivers of the cosmos that connects to Mount Kailash. And I have been guided to go to certain spots. Even I think there's a reason why I'm living in the Hudson Valley where I am. There was a reason why I've been guided to certain areas in throughout the world, throughout my life at certain times. And yes, Mount Kailash is Hey Charlotte, Mount Kailash is one of the most amazing places. I showed it in the podcast we did earlier. Today's part two of that podcast. Mount Kailash is a place where even to this day, mysterious seers and yogis exist, right? And they don't just exist. They can move between dimensions. They can move between worlds, right? And they've also been helping maintain the magnetic shield around our planet as well, right? This is the temple, the tent around Earth that's talked about. And I talked about in the earlier show today about Haida Khan Babaji, who I do believe was sent here through the sun, that he was sent here by the light. Some would say maybe he came as an antichrist, but I don't believe that's so. I believe that he was a Christ-like type figure that came here. And unfortunately, he saw what was coming to this planet, and apparently it made his heart explode at only 30 years of age. And the we're going to be talking about the idea of a Messiah as well and get into some what scriptures say. I can That's why when Gary Wayne and I we do very unique shows because between the two of us we have an interesting blend. So I can blend not only studies of the ancient tablets, but also various other religions. I've spent many years studying Hebrew mysticism, the Kabbalah. I've spent many years studying the Vedas and Hindu mysticism. Also, mysticism is my background, and Italian Etruscan. And I've also spent many years studying Native American, um, Celtic, uh, all sorts of cultures, right? So between the the experiences I've had and certain abilities that I have that I was born with, and how it guides me to do the research. Not only can I offer the spiritual aspects of things, I can often offer the scholarly side of things as well. So not only do I offer some of the visions that I get, some of the things that I pull in, but I also do the scientific and mythological research and historical and religious research to validate some of the claims of the things that I've seen and the things that I can, so some of the things that I pull in, if you want to say, however you want to, whatever you want to call it, because we all have these abilities. Just many of us are not listening to the voice of God, and we are all connected to the voice of God. It's connected to the spinal current of who we are. And I always say this, it's the spinal current of humanity that's connected to the streams of light. We are absorbing them. We are connected to the Lord this way. And there's a reason why people are here now tonight watching this. And there's a reason why people are drawn to certain things, right? Because there's something inside of us that is speaking to us, whether we are open to our connections and the impressions that we get or not. There's a reason why we have certain interests and we are guided to certain things, right? So I'm not sure if I should start with different, because the existence and first I want to get into first the idea of some of the Hebrew messiahs, right? Because we are headed towards an event this year, and I do believe it's going to possibly happen in March. End of March is going to be the first beginning of it, and it's going to be an event that's going to change this planet, solar event, and also not only physically but spiritually as well, because the current that's coming from the weather of 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 the sun, the weather of the solar system also has to do with the climate of who we are spiritually, right? And you have a whole bunch of Jewish sages and authors that had ways of writing different codes in the scriptures that have to do with messianic beliefs, right? Messianic risings, messianic, you know, either some sort of Messiah coming, or even in where it comes to the Kabbalah and Hebrew, they actually believe in two messiahs, the Messiah ben Yosef and the Messiah ben David, with the Messiah ben Yosef being killed. But in the first book of Enoch, right, the Messiah is the head. They call it, first of all, he's called the head of days, right? There's an epithet where they're talking about his or alluding to his pre-existence or to the emergence of his name before God, prior to the creation of the world, right? In the same source that he's called the Son of Man, right? Which is an old biblical term, and ever since Ezekiel, the Son of Man has been a designation that's basically talking about us having a nearness to God, like the being of God, right? And some of the Messiah's names that have been a code for him that I talked about in the last show I did with Gary on Saturday is the word shoot, Menahem, or the Comforter, right? Some rabbis, they have the Messiah's name, you know, all different ways, right? They interpret it all different ways. And there's been false messiahs, there's been antichrist type messiahs, and there's been all sorts of people who thought they were the Messiah that came forth, right? And you have uh, verses here that I have that talks about the pre-existence before as well. Like in Enoch 1, verse 46, 1 through 3 says, "And there I saw him who is the head of days, and his head was like white like wool, and his head was white like wool. And with him was another, one whose countenance had the appearance of a man, and his face was full of graciousness, like one of the holy angels. And I asked the angel who went with me and showed me all the things about that Son of Man. Who is he? And whence is he? And why did he go with the head of days? And he answered and said to me, This is the Son of Man who has righteousness, with whom dwells righteousness, and who reveals all the treasures of his crowns. For the Lord of spirits chose him." Right? So it also goes on to say, "He shall be a staff for the righteous, whereon to lean, to stand, and to not fall. And he shall be a light unto the nations, and hope for the trouble of hearts. And all the earth dwellers before him shall fall down, and worship and praise and bless, and sing to the Lord of spirits. It is for this that he has been chosen and hidden before him, even before the creation of the world, and forevermore." And that's in Enoch 46, 48, and then in Enoch 62, 62, 7 through 9. This is the first Enoch. Says, "From the beginning the Son of Man was hidden, and the Most High has preserved him in the presence of his might and revealed him to the elect. And the congregation of the elect and the holy shall be sown. And all the elect shall stand before him on that day, and all the kings and the mighty and the exalted and the rulers of earth shall fall down before him on their faces, and worship and set their hope upon the Son of Man, and petition him and ask for mercy at his hands." So this is all prior to Christ, prior to Messiahs, right? And Jewish legends, they have various people. Um, they have various men that were supposedly almost became the Messiah in many ways, right? They were supposed to be the redeemers, right? Fulfilling this role of the messianic, the Messiah, right? The the anointed one of God. And in these legendary Jewish heroes that they have, they continued a line of these royal figures who in biblical times were called the anointed Mashiach, of God, right? And Saul or Saul and David, right? They were messiahs of God in the older, uh, more realistic sense, right? They were the kings of Judah, right? And there was Cyrus the Great. Uh, he was the one who brought Jews to return to Jerusalem when they were captive in Babylon, right? And they have the Esther, the Redeemer, in some Jewish legends, and then the Midrash. They have various legends with biblical heroes and Jewish heroes, but the earliest biblical figure who is later on in literature with this superhuman messianic character is Enoch, right? And right in Genesis 5:24 says that he walked with God and he was no more, for God took him, right? And this statement has really been a very enigmatic and debated statement. And Enoch turned into this superhuman type figure, and his transition, he becomes Metatron, right? Who's the chief of all the angels. And according to the Book of Enoch, which we first found preserved in Ethiopia, it was once a cherished Hebrew writing, but it had been abolished. Basically, it had been lost, and we found it preserved in Ethiopia. We can get into the history of the Book of Enoch another time, but in the Book of Enoch, he Metatron, he becomes the chief of all, and he becomes like the Messiah, right? He becomes a superhuman figure, right? And there's a list of messianic figures in Hebrew stories, right? You have, uh, Moses, Elijah, King Hezekiah, Menahim ben Amiel, who was born when the first temple was destroyed. You have Menahem ben Hezekiah, who was born on the very day the second temple was destroyed. This is all in the Hebrew belief system, right? They have Bar Kokhba, right? And you also have later on Kabbalistic masters who were messianic type figures, not messiahs, but messianic type figures. These charismatic leaders that continued the this redemption, right? That's coming for the Jews, and uh, Rabbi Luria is one of them, right? And he's a 16th century mystic, and Rabbi Vital, Hayim Vital, right? You have the Vilna Gaon. You have all sorts of messiahs type figures, and then you have this false messiah that arises, who was uh, the Zabbatai Zevi, right? And he, of all the false messiahs, Shabbatai Zevi was the one who created the most uproar and stir amongst both Gentiles and Jews, right? And he was a manic depressive person. He went into manic depressive states, and he also was interpreting these massive depressive states that he would go into as mystical manifestations, right? And he ultimately converted to Islam in 1666, right? And he did not messiah himself. He converted to Islam. So he did not make a martyr out of himself, is what I mean. He converted to Islam when his life was on the line. So he was not a messiah, right? He was a man that was having manic depressive states and was interpreting this as some ego trip mystical experience, that he was some messiah coming. And a lot of people will have thought this in the past, but he started to build a following. He was very convincing, and the Baal Shem Tov was another messianic type figure. He invented Hasidism. So, Enoch and Elijah are discussed as having to do with also coming back in the end times, right? And in Hebrew, they called Elijah the great forerunner. Now, let me show you guys something here. So, I brought this up in a podcast with Gary Wayne. I just want to show you guys. Let me just get this for you guys real quick. Just gotta find where it is. Oh, here it is. All right. So this is from, if you guys want to get the book where this is taken from, this is the book of Alice Bailey. The externalization of the hierarchy. It's about, yeah, over 700 pages in there. There's over 700 pages in here. Um, these are books from the Lucis Trust. You can see I got a whole bunch of books from the Lucis Trust, different books from Alice Bailey. I've had a lot of these books for a while. Um, this is taken from page 530 in the book, The Externalization of the Hierarchy. I suggest people, if they're interested, to get this book. It talks about specifically the year 2025 as well. And here's the excerpt from the book. Let me reread it for you guys real quick. So this book right here is copyrighted in 1957, but this copy here was printed in yeah, well, I got the later printing, but this one was printed like this is like they have up to the 14th printing, I think now. This was the 10th printing. But they even have a new printing in 2024 as well. But this is first published in 1957, but she wrote this in the 1930s. Let me see. They have the exact date where she did write this. It was like in the 1930s. No, this one was in 1945 where she wrote this. So, 1945, she wrote this, okay? Thus, a great and new movement is proceeding, and a tremendously increased interplay and interaction is taking place. This is going to go on until AD 2025. During the years intervening between now and then, remember, between 1945 and then, there's very great changes that'll be seen taking place. And at that great assembly of the hierarchy, which is held every century, in 2025, the date in all probability will be set for the first stage of the externalization of the hierarchy. The present cycle from now until that date is called technically the stage of the forerunner. It's preparatory in nature, testing in its methods, and intended to be revelatory in its techniques and results. And the chonins, the masters, the initiates, the world disciples, the disciples and aspirants affiliated with the hierarchy are all at this time passing through a cycle of great activity. Now, the forerunner, the stage of the forerunner, that is very interesting because in the Bible and we have Elijah, right? And in Hebrew and in rabbinical text, Elijah is called the great forerunner. And he's going to return in the end times. And Elijah's the one that has the solar fire of God, right? He's the one who called down the flames of the sun and lit the altar of Yahweh on fire, right? And in fact, we can go even deeper into Elijah because Elijah he uh he differs from all other biblical figures, right? And he he's just uh he's transcended all different cultures as well, right? He's used with Gnostics, he's used with Slavics, right? He's used with all sorts of cultures. And Elijah is basically this prophet of God, this solar prophet who wages a ruthless war against the Canaanites, right? And the idolatry of the Canaanites. And in that's in Israel. And he defeats the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel in a a great solar rain making contest. Literally, this is the way it should be translated. He's bringing down solar fire and making it rain from the sky, from the sun, right? And it's a contest which he so-called proves the power of God. And he retraces the footsteps of Moses to Mount Horeb, and ascends to the heavens in a chariot of fire. This is in First Kings 18 and 19. No, First Kings 18, and in Second Kings it's uh 2. Kings 18 and 19, and in Second Kings it's 2. And by the end of the biblical period, Elijah, he becomes this a mythical figure whose return is expected, and it's going to come before that coming of the great and terrible day of the Lord. Now, when is this terrible day of the Lord? Could it be March 21st, 2025? Right? And in the Bible they have I think it's Malachi 3:23-24, the day of the last judgment. And by the first century BC, it was already established that Elijah would be the forerunner of the Messiah. And many people believe in Judaism, especially, that the Messiah has not arrived yet. Many also people think that there's going to be a second coming of the Messiah, right, with Christians. But we're going to get into some Hebrew writings now, rabbinical writings that talk about Elijah also confronting the Messiah and his wait. He has a long and painful wait for the call. And when the time of redemption arrives, it's Elijah who introduces the Messiah to the people. And this is very interesting, right? This is because he's well known to them, right? And the Messiah is unknown. So Elijah forces Israel to repent, and that's a prerequisite of the redemption. And just like Moses and the Messiah, Elijah too is going to appear, then hide, then appear again in the future to come. And then there's going to be a critical period of 45 days between the death of the Messiah ben Yosef and the appearance of the Messiah ben David. And Elijah will take what they call this legendary book of Yashar, where they say the whole Torah is but a line. Now, they're not told what he does with this book, but the mere appearance of it is, or what they think is, seems to be sufficient to make the earth swallow the enemies of Israel. And they say that 3 days prior to the coming of the Messiah, Elijah announces the advent of the Redeemer from the mountains of Israel. Now, it takes 3 days for a solar flash, a solar coronal mass ejection flare, usually to 2 or 3 days to reach Earth. This, to me, is what's being discussed. The Messiah is going to come in the rays of light of the sun. It doesn't have to be a human being, my friends. It's going to be an awakening of consciousness on this planet. This is when the horns of shofar will be blown, the shofar, the horns of God, which ultimately is the cups of light coming from the stars, coming from suns, right? They even have the apsaras that I talked about in Vedic and Hindu, right? They bring the divine nectar of the soma, right? They're the cup bearers, right? And you could see they're described in pictures. You'll see them even described like this in pictures. The apsaras, right? They're these cup bearers. And this depiction is incredible because these structures, cups, bells, horns, they form to stream the light from supernova explosions and various other plasma bursts within the cosmos, right? You can see supernova 1987A, one of the most special ones ever. You can see these cup bearers, right? These are the cups of the cosmos. These are the chalice of the apsaras. Don't forget, everybody, we are currently demonetized here on YouTube. So if you want to support me, and I depend on your support, everybody. My podcast depends on your support. My websites depends on your support. Even $1 helps. You guys, you can support me right here. I'll put it up in the chat room. Um, where's the chat room? Where's me? It's not me. I don't find my own right here. I had it before. How do I find my own show? How can I find my own chat room? Here it is. All right, I'll put it up in the chat room. There we go. There's my PayPal if you guys want to support me. What's up, Riley Rage? Riley Rage is here too. And those cups that I show you, those bell shapes, they're depicted all over. And see here, this is Mount Kailash that we showed earlier. Now, Mount Kailash to me is ancient technology. This is where Haida Khan Babaji appeared out of at a cave of Mount Kailash. One of the most incredible places in the world is Mount Kailash. Really incredible. Really is. I mean, you can't get a more mystical place than Mount Kailash. And we'll do a show. We'll do a show about Mount Kailash in the future. Definitely, definitely. And the seers, even you know, my friend Uma Sankar, the Sun Yogi, he goes into the Himalayas every year for a few months. And he went without food for 12 years supposedly, where he was only feeding from the sun, the light of the sun. I know that sounds incredible. I don't know how it's possible. But what's interesting about that is he said that he didn't evolve spiritually from that. He said that it's a weapon that should be under every yogi's or seer's hat in case they need it, right? Say you're stranded in the wilderness without food. and all you have is the sun to meditate, or you're in dire straits, right? There's reasons why the yogis have adapted that ability in the past. And he said that he wasn't progressing spiritually, though. He sort of was stuck in the mud while doing that. And I found that interesting because most people would say, oh, they attained enlightenment doing this or whatever. But he said that he realized that his body did need nutrients and different things. But uh, I always was intrigued as a young kid when I first heard about yogis that were able to do solar, meditations where they didn't even need food. They were feeding off of the light of the sun. And I truly believe that we don't need as much food as we think. And it's just the types of foods that we eat too is just horrible nowadays. It's really incredible what they're doing to the society. It's really incredible. It's unfortunate, really unfortunate. But yeah, the stage of the forerunner, and these cup shapes that I was showing, the apsaras, they happen with all supernovas, and supernovas drastically change our world, right? And you can see these cup shapes, they're in everywhere. I mean, Egyptian writing, the bell-shaped Egyptians, they're all over, and you'll see them put in different ways. Like here's the Apis bull and Egyptian, and you see this bell-shaped right here, right? They have the solar plumes coming out from the sun. Incredible symbolism. Even right here, you have this man holding what they describe as a lotus flower or something, but this is not. This is the cup of light. This is a cup of light from the cosmos. It could even be a supernova explosion, and the acceleration of that light. The solar bull is accelerating that light. And obviously, they're talking about the sun. He's the solar Apis bull. Apis is the water bull. Apis comes right from Vedic, even though they're using it here in Egyptian. It comes right from Vedic symbology. Incredible. And you see that cup shape, that supernova. We're actually about to have another supernova, and it's actually a recurring nova in the Northern Crown, and it should be happening any time now. And anytime supernovas happen, it drastically changes our world, right? We have supernova 1987A that you see right here, and the first signs of supernova 1987A um, were noticed early on February 24th, 1987. And that is a very powerful year for us as well. A lot of things started to shift in that world, in that year, in our world, right? And when supernovas are first sighted, right? When we first lay our eyes upon them and they come into the collective consciousness of humanity, or their light reaches Earth, it drastically changes our solar system and our planet because it's an explosion of information that we're absorbing. You have all these particles of light. Even water is carried within plasma clouds. Even water is carried within plasma clouds. Right? This is when we first learned about the solar neutrinos, right? As well, right? This is when 1987A was noticed. It was first discovered by naked eye on a panoramic photographic plate taken with a 10-inch astrograph on Las Campanas in Chile. And this was by a guy named Oscar Duhalde and a guy named Ian Shelton. And a few hours earlier, on February 23rd, two large underground proton decay detectors registered the passage of high energy neutrinos. Now, this is unlike the optical detections. The localization of the source was not so easy, for the total of 20 neutrinos detected within about 13 seconds. Since SN 1987A exploded, which and exploded in the large the LMC, the Large Magellanic Cloud. I talk about this on my website. This is an amazing star forming region as well. And the detectors on the northern hemisphere measured the neutrinos after they passed through Earth, right? So this was the first detection of neutrinos from a celestial object other than the sun, right? And it was uh, Masatoshi Koshiba who was awarded the freaking Nobel Prize in 2002 for X-ray astronomy, and Raymond Davis Jr. for solar neutrinos. And then the most important implication of these neutrinos, they say, was that it confirmed the hydrodynamic core collapse, releasing about 3 times 10 to the 53rd power ergs of gravitational energy, mainly in neutrinos of all kinds. They say that this confirmed the predictions by Colgate and Arnott and others from the 1960s. The few neutrinos showed that the electron neutrino mass has to be rather small. Uh, it's superseded in the meantime by direct experiments, as no time delay effects could be measured. Also, the fact that there is no structure in the neutrino burst indicates that they came from the collapse to the neutron star, but no further collapse to a black hole occurred. At the same time, these neutrinos gave an unprecedented accuracy of better than a minute. Uh, Let me see. The reason the accuracy is not better had to do with the timekeeping at the neutrino detectors for the time of explosion, which optical observations cannot provide, as the photons emerge from the shock breakout on the surface of the exploding star. And you guys can see the rings. There's actually concentric rings on the 1987A explosion. Uh, Let me show you guys, and this is what I'm including in my book. The rings, the picture here. I don't know if it'll show up. That's the rings, but there's concentric rings. You see these concentric circles, which ironically looks like Atlantis, and also is the same symbol that Urantia book uses, right? Those concentric circles. Can you see it on the book right there? Those concentric circles. That's also the symbol for Urantis, Atlantis as well. That's exactly what 1987 supernova A looks like as well. And, there's been I mean, it was one of the most incredible supernovas. And we'll do a whole show on supernovas in the past, because I want to also get into supernova, uh, the Crab Nebula and the Vela pulsar, the pulsar waves of those supernovas. And we're gonna be doing remote viewings of these as well. We're gonna be doing viewings of all this, right? I'm even putting some of the I scanned some of the actual papyruses that I have from Egypt. I scanned them. I'm going to be putting them in my books as well. These are the scannings of the actual papyruses that I have. We're gonna we're headed towards an event this year, a solar event. I do think there might be an event in late March of 2025 or June of 2025, summer 2025. We're going towards a grand maximum. We're in a grand maximum. Also, there's a possibility that an ice age comes our way, and we have to be prepared for this mentally, physically, spiritually. And when you examine our historical sunspot records, we had an extended period between 1645 and 1715 AD. Now, this is also the same period that we went into a mini ice age, right? But between 1645 and 1715, we had virtually no sunspots observed. The period was known as the Maunder or Maunder minimum. It's spelled Maunder, Maunder minimum. And we have different names for these maximums and minimums, right? There's a few different names out there for these. Um, you and during that time, like there was a period between 1100 and 1250 AD, which was another grand maximum like we're in right now. And the sun has also over time gone through long periods of extreme active conditions. That's higher than the average maximum. And this is what's going on right now. Right now. And usually when this happens, we also not only have supernovas, but also the rise of a Christ Savior type person. Sometimes it doesn't have to be a person, it's more of a, a consciousness on the planet that arises. But sometimes there's people that are leading that that movement, that cosmic consciousness. And not only are stars born through supernovas, and there's star forming regions, but there's consciousnesses that come to this planet, intelligences that come in this planet. And the lightning of God is what sparks life. This is how we were created. I was shown how we were created. People, you don't have to believe me or not, but I was shown that literally the DNA, the bacterias, all the particles and proteins, everything was sent down through the cosmos, whether it was through meteor showers or meteors or asteroids or the stellar winds. They came into our planet and was literally sitting in a shallow pool of mud. And then lightning came down and sparked life out of that mud. And it's talked about in scriptures how we were born from mud, right? This is how it was. It was the lightning of God, the finger of God that brought life into the petri dish that was just deposited in the mud by God. This is how life was sparked. It was seeded here and then ignited by the finger of God. And in the book of Giants, they talk about the lightning of God as an angel, right? Baraquel, right? We have the book of Giants here where they were getting visions about their demise. Just like I have gotten visions and other people on the planet have been getting visions, apocalyptic type visions, but they were getting visions about their demise and what was coming to the planet. You have two books of giants. You got the Aramaic Book of Giants, and you got the Manichaean Book of Giants. Now I have them both here, and the Book of Enoch, and the different fragments, copies of the fragments of tablets. Um, but we could give a basic version of the Aramaic Book of Giants, right? And who Baraquiel is, whose basically name means the lightning of God, right? Now, in the Aramaic Book of Giants, it follows an interesting storyline that fits in, maybe was even a part of the Book of Enoch one day. Now, the fallen angels called Watchers, right? They lusted after, in the story, human woman. Now, this I feel is also might be being translated as wrong, but we'll just go through what the going translation is for right now. And they give birth to the offspring, of course, called the Nephilim. The Nephilim are these bloodthirsty, monstrous giants. They kill and consume all these different cattle and plants and humans. Now, you got to remember, cattle technically usually means in these ancient writings as light of the sun. So when they're saying they're consuming these cattle and these animals and humans and all of this of Earth, they might be consuming the light that's coming to Earth. Now, they say in these writings that after having experienced sex for the first time, they not only consumed the creatures that they found, but according to one version, they sexually abused them as well. And that these events were reported to Enoch. And Enoch went to God and praised him for his glory, power, and for his creation. And then several giants, including Humbaba, Mawe, or Mahawe is his name, and even the Watcher Baraquiel, discussed killing humans, right? And the giants have these dreams that predicts a great flood that's going to bring their demise, that they're going to perish in. And the first dream was a stone tablet that they find submerged in the water. And in the dream, there's most names on the tablet get washed away, all but three names remain. One version of the dream was of an angel defacing the tablet as a sort of a symbol of the destruction that's going to be brought upon on Earth, right? And in defacing these tablets, the three names could not be erased. Very similar to the first story. But in other stories, there's 200 trees in a garden, and all but three are destroyed, right? So there's a second dream. And in the second dream, this is the garden that I referred to being destroyed. And after destruction of the garden, there's three plant shoots. Now, there's that word shoot again, like the same word in the Bible that's used for the Messiah, the shoot, right? It's the same word that's used as the Messiah. And this comes out of the stock of Jesse in the Bible, that it's going to raise from the stump of Jesse a shoot, a branch. So these might be 200 angels, 200 messiahs that are brought, or false messiahs that are brought, but only three people are going to remain. Now, many people depict those three people that remain as the three sons of Noah, right? After the destruction of the garden, there's these three plant shoots or trees that were left in the garden. And in the second dream, an angel descends and cuts down all but these three shoots in a garden. And the text interprets them as three young trees or three plant shoots. And some interpret these three shoots as the three sons of Noah, right? There's continuing the line after the flood. And the giants meet and they counsel with one another and they go and decide to ask for help. So Mahawe consults Enoch for the very first time, and and they have the giants Oya, Mahawe, and they have a conversation where Mahawe tells Oya that he heard something while in the presence of his father, the Watcher Baraquel. or Barakiel, which translates as the lightning of God, right? The solar flash of God, the solar lightning of the cosmos. And Oya responds that he had to that he had heard from the four marvels, right? And he compares it to the stages of childbirth. That's very interesting. And Baraquiel or Barakiel was the ninth watcher of the 20 leaders of the 200 fallen angels, right? You have 20 leaders of 10, right? The chief of tens, they call them, right? And you had 200 fallen angels that they descended on Mount Hermon in the book of Enoch. Of these 200, you have 20 leaders. Now, Barakiel is the ninth watcher of the 20 leaders of the 200 fallen angels. And they were 200 watchers who descended. Sometimes they're called Grigori, right? And they were grouped like generals, like soldiers, with each leader a team of 10 soldiers, right? And there were 20 leaders of the 200 watchers. The name Baraquiel, the lightning of God, right? He's the one that they say also taught the knowledge of astrology, right? Because he's the lightning of the stars, the lightning of the suns. He knows the information that's coming from the sun through the lightning, through the storms, through the light that's coming from the suns and stars. He's the one who taught mankind during the days of Jared. And in the story, Gilgamesh, he's one of the giants who proclaimed that despite his great strength and courage and all of his ability to kill any human on the planet, that he couldn't prevail in a war against the heavenly beings. And he in the story he has no hope of surviving a full battle with them, right? He lamented that he had no hope of surviving a full-on battle with them. And Oya says that he was made to dream a very disturbing dream. As it turned out, the giants were all having nightmares and visions. Gilgamesh also has a dream and was told to recount it, right? And Oya, in the now we're talking about here the Aramaic Book of Giants. Oya speaks to his brother Haya about the Watcher Azazel, and Azazel was one of the main Watchers. He might be the same one as Semyaza, just a different name, and he was the father to some of the giants, right? And God condemned Azazel and Semyaza, right? And the giants they realize that there's going to be no escape and that they're going to perish for their deeds. They're going to perish for what they've done. And they were so scared that they dared not to sleep due to the visions that they were having while they were going to sleep. The vision that disturbed them. Oya said that he dared not to sleep due to a vision that disturbed him so deeply it frightened him to be afraid to sleep. He wouldn't. And these are terrible, fearsome giants that they were so scared to sleep because of the visions that they were getting. And they had an assembly of the giants in the Manichaean Book of Giants where they discussed the great fear of being killed and how they're coming their that their death was like foretold in the flood, right? And that their bodies would be stripped of their spirits and they would be reduced to evil spirits, never having peace, never being able to sleep, roaming the world as evil spirits. And then the Watchers were imprisoned. They told the giants they could not win the coming battle and that the giants would be defeated. Then Mahaway and the two tablets are discussed in the Manichaean in the Aramaic book. The second tablet also was a letter from Enoch to the Watcher Semyaza and his fellow Watchers, because he was the leader of them, and they were, punished for their sins and for producing the giants. And their actions were labeled corrupt, and they had come to the attention of the archangel Raphael at that time, and they were told that they would be destroyed. And Raphael told them to release their hostages and to pray. Then Oya, he relays a message from Gilgamesh and Hubaba, which involved the cursing of the princes. Now, this cheered the giants. Now, we're assuming that the princes are angels, and the Watchers' curses had no effect on them, right? But two giants, Oya and Haya, they had dreams. Aya described his dream in the assembly of the giants. He dreamed of the gardeners watering a garden, which produced these great shoots or trees, but the garden was destroyed in the deluge of water and fire, right? The other giants, they were not able to interpret his dream. So Haya proposed that they consult Enoch for the interpretation. Then his brother Oya uh, told his dream in which God descends to earth, thrones were set up, and God sat on his throne in the midst of the angels. And God judged based on what was written in certain books. And the giants asked Mahaway to go to Enoch, and he's encountered Enoch before, to ask him to interpret the dreams. And Mahaway takes flight. He takes wing and flies across a so-called great desert. And there's also parts in it where he wants to fly to the sun, but they said that his wings will be burned. Now that's very similar to Greek mythology and Phaeton. Very similar. Very, very similar. You got fragment 6Q8, where the giants are talking about Barakiel, the Watcher, being with them. Oya, he said to Mahaway, but there's missing parts in these fragments. Like right here, right? You have fragment. You guys can't see it too well. Well, it's fragment 6Q8, right? You see those missing spots on there? Those missing spots, those are lacunas where you know the word is missing, or it's unintelligible, or the tablet has a missing space. So, we really can't translate these tablets correctly, or get the full gist of it, because there's so many missing spots. But it's very interesting to go into. Thank you guys for joining the Space Water Podcast, everybody. We're gonna get more into it tomorrow. Um, I really appreciate you guys. Go to the Mystical Spiral store. We have so many deals out there for you. You also, there's 25% discount code. You can also use those for readings. Somebody just got a reading tonight for me. They got it for like less than $50, I think, or $50. So, and they got a pendant that they bought with it. So you can use the 25% coupon code for everything on my website, even my readings. Check it out, themysticalspiralstore.com. We'll see you guys tomorrow, and Spiral out. Who's with me in the chat room? And Spiral out. Don't forget, please donate to PayPal, everybody. We need your support to stay live. I'm glad you guys came, and say it with me. Spiral out.